Let's do it.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. This was the infamous quote that my grandfather, Stat Jones, was known for. Don Patrocinio was a beloved father, cherished member of his community, wise professor, avid lover of jazz, humorous and caring grandfather. The list goes on and on and on, but I think that's just what shows the kind of man he was. So this morning we gathered here to celebrate his life, reflecting on his background and the life he led, as well as highlighting some key memories that I think show um, one of the people who has had the greatest influences and impact on the woman I've become today. So to begin, Don was born and raised in a small province in the Philippines. So he lived an early life of simplicity. He grew up in a household of six, with being the oldest of four brothers. Rice farming was also prominent throughout generations of Patrocinians, and the grain sum was definitely passed down to him. Anybody who knew Don knew about his passion for farming and natural connection to animals. He had this innate capacity to bring colorful life to every grain he planted and every animal he raised on his farm. Later on, he would move away from this province to the city to study English and theology at university for his bachelor's and master's degrees. These fields perfectly fit his passion for literature, writing, and dialect. He then went on to become a professor of English, which well demonstrated his commitment to higher education, intellect, and academic rigor. Many of his students even comment on his personality as being as hard as nails, but eventually admit to having grown the most into being a student in his class. He was a pretty challenging professor. Another standout characteristic about Don was that is essential to knowing him was his enamoration with music. I've been told countless stories about his beautiful ability to play the guitar and learn songs by ear. Also, in visiting him every summer in the Philippines, it was quite evident that this man loved himself a good piece of jazz. Classics by Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Bing Crosby, and Michael Bublé were always his first request for music, with Frank Sinatra's Finding Community his all-time favorite. He is the reason that I love listening to jazz music to this day and why I began playing my clarinet in the first place. Moreover, Don was a beloved member of his community, serving them through education. His family owned a high school, but unfortunately, when his father passed away, he stepped in to the role, being the eldest son. This was a commendable act on his behalf, as he filled his father's shoes to keep one of the only high schools in that town running, so one of the only formal institutions that provided education for students in that town. Like water flowing down to the waterfall, education flowed naturally flows through his veins. My grandfather is also a key reason I aspire to be a physician assistant in the medical field. Unfortunately, in his lifetime, he suffered three strokes, the third rendering him bedridden, and the fourth ultimately leading to his cause of death. But he trusted my mom, my sister, and I with his medical care and care management. I first learned basic healthcare skills like taking blood sugar, blood pressure, administering medication, changing dressing rooms, and feeding tube dressings because of him. And I was always so grateful that he communicated his trust and confidence in me from such a young age. As can be seen, I am quite proud to be the granddaughter of Don Patrocinio. He came from humble beginnings, pursued his educational goals, and eventually took responsibility for his family's high school. At every point in his life, he imparted wisdom and compassion to those he loved. At every opportunity, he demonstrated integrity and demanded respect. At every joke he cracked to our family, he brought us joy and love. So, in reference to his all-time favorite song, Papa, I hope to see you on the other side of the moon. And as Sinatra sang, in other words, I love you.